Evening and Happy New Year, everybody. So with that, let's call to order City of San Ramon Parks Community Service Commission regular meeting January 8, 2025. Now the time is dot to 7 p.m. Uh, can I request Commissioner Coney to lead us for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Coney. Roll call.
Alrighty. Chair Mitra,
Present.
Vice Chair Breed, Commissioner Dorlick,
Present.
Commissioner Keeney,
Present.
Commissioner Levy,
Present.
Commissioner Lopez Lucy,
Present.
Commissioner Osland,
Present.
and Student Commissioner Chawla.
Thank you, everybody. Item number 4, special item and announcements. Temporary Employee of the Month for December, Isabella Sanchez Braid, introduced by Ed Winters, Recreational Coordinator.
For the appointed month for December.
So Isabella started at City San Ramon in 2023 as assistant activity manager, and she moved up the ranks to become the activity manager for the Iron Horse Teen Center. Some of the jobs of the Iron Horse Teen Center as activity manager is to plan monthly activities for the teens there. She actually started a crochet club with the teens there. She started out with 2, and then she ended up probably with about 15 teens who were interested in doing crochet. So they did anywhere from animals to hats. Regarding that, we gained a lot of interest with kids doing crochet there. And a lot of the kids refer to her as Bella at the teen center. Whenever she's not there, they always go, "Where's Bella? Where's Bella, Edwin? Where's Bella?" And I'm like, she's taking the day off. She's studying for school. And so they're really excited to have her there, and she has made such a difference there. She graduated from CSU East Bay with a degree in criminal justice. Sorry, criminal justice, and currently she's getting her master's degree in forensics.
Legal and
Forensic psychology at UC Irvine. She's also interning at the police department at San Mateo.
Yep.
San Mateo. She's currently doing a 2-month trial intern right now there. And so besides doing all that and studying for master's, she also she also works at the farm too on her spare time. And I don't know where she finds all the time, but she does. So she works at the farm regarding that. So Bella is the City of San Ramon wants to recognize Bella as one of our stellar employees that we employ here with the city, and that she goes above and beyond in her job to make sure that the community, the kids in the community provide services for them. You want to see?
I just wanted to take this moment to thank the City of San Ramon for this opportunity and for the pleasure of working with such amazing kids and staff in the back.
Yeah, the support group.
Me too.
Oh, thanks.
I like the sign.
Is there a sign?
So Bella, thank you for your service for the city and the community. This is and this is a small memento, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. I did. All right. Okay, so we are moving on to item number 4.2, special announcements that we always have.
Yes, I do have a couple of quick announcements for you. So just a quick reminder, the library public art dedication is this Saturday, January 11th at 11. So hopefully a number of you can make it. We're really excited to see that piece finally come to fruition and want to celebrate that it's going to be dedicated that day. We also, I think you all know, but we added a commission meeting on Wednesday, January 22nd. That's because this time of year, we always get packed up with too many items to put onto one commission meeting. And so that will be the Crow Canyon Gardens phased approach. Yes,
I will not be able to.
I
attend.
know
Okay.
I know you were unable to attend,
Yeah.
but there was no other,
Minutes. Thank you.
no other way to get this particular meeting in there.
No problem.
Also, we'll have the workshop to review the Forest Home Farm Boone House analysis results on Monday, March 24th. I know that's a ways out, but I just keep repeating it because I want to make sure it's on everyone's calendar. And then our February commission meeting that's coming up, I will not be here that night, but Brad will be here, so he will help facilitate that in February. Then I got some great upcoming events for you. There's so many things coming up in January. Sometimes we have kind of a lull in January, but not this year. So I have to mention that starting on January 11th, all the way through March 29th, there are free weekly adult drop-in art studio painting on Saturdays from 3 to 5. Bring your own materials. And then starting on January 7th, which was early this week, the Teen Mixed Media Art Studio drop-in program that's also free is on Tuesday nights from 6 to 9 p.m. If you don't know, on January 18th, there's the Tango Milonga Night. And this is so cool. It's going to be at the Art Center, and there's an option. So you can just show up and dance, but for a ticket price, or you can show up and pay a little bit more and have a tango lesson and then stay for the dance. It's very affordable, I think at $15 and $20. So super fun if you want to have a little tango. January 22nd, the Senior Center will be having their Lunar New Year celebration. So they always have a great show and entertainment. You can sign up the day before if you want to do lunch, and they'll have an Asian themed lunch that day too. The Senior Foundation on January 25th has their Lunar New Year bingo. So if you haven't played bingo with the Senior Foundation, it is very popular. And January 25th, I think you all know, but the Historic Foundation did decide to cancel the crab feed this year, but it's showing up on different calendars. So, you know, that's not happening this year. January 26th will feature Culture in the Community in its new format at the Doherty Station Art Center. So hopefully you'll be able to do that. And then if you get all the way into the edge of February, I wanted to mention this one. The Open Space Advisory Committee speaker event is Plantify, and that'll be at 9 a.m. at the San Ramon Community Center. And it'll be a presentation on native ecological history of the area and how people can be good stewards of the land. So lots of things coming up in the next month for you to participate in.
Thank you.
That's it.
Cool. Item number 5, public comments or written communications. At this time, member of the public are encouraged to address Public Park and Community Services Commission on any item not already included in tonight's agenda. Comments should not exceed more than 3 minutes. During public comments, members of the public are permitted to address commission on items that are not on the agenda and are within the commission's jurisdiction. No commission at this time member of the public are encouraged to address the Parks and Community Service Commission on any item not already included in tonight's agenda. Comments should not exceed 3 minutes. During public comment, member of the public are permitted to address a commission on items that are not in commission. No commission action can be taken on this meeting on item raised during public comments. Do we have any public comments today? Okay, all right. All right. Item number 6, approval of minutes. All right. So first, let me ask anybody, have we all reviewed the minutes? And if we have, anybody has any comments? Nope. All right. Can I have a motion?
We approve the minutes. Oh, sorry.
Yep.
I'll second.
All right, it's yes, 7, no, 0, abstain 0. So the motion passed. Item number 7, Commission Business. 7.1, Art Advisory Committee Annual Report. Recommendation: approve and recommend the report to and forward to the City Council for consideration, presented by Adam Chow, Recreation Coordinator, and Ranjini Venkatachari.
All right. Good evening, Commissioners. We are excited to be able to have the Arts Advisory Committee be able to give you their annual report for 2024. I know we just finished 2024, but we were ready. We're excited to be able to talk about all the things that we did in arts this year. As you know, we've been significantly growing the arts programs, the different opportunities that we have. I know Kathy just mentioned a number of different announcements in regards to events and programs that we have, and the Arts Advisory Committee has been a great tool to be able to make sure that staff has the opportunities and feedback to be able to provide the programs that we do in the city. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ranjini Venkatachari, our Vice Chair of the Arts Advisory Committee, and she's going to give the annual report this evening.
Thank you, Adam, and hello, Commissioners. Happy New Year to all of you. I'm so excited to be here and present the San Ramon Arts Advisory Committee Annual Report. So the purpose of this committee is to support and promote cultural and performing arts program in San Ramon, provide advice, counsel, recommendations, and feedback to the City of San Ramon on the provision, selection, and delivery of public art and cultural art programs, events, and services. Our committee members include Naina Shastri, our chair, myself, Ranjini Venkatachari, vice chair, Shelley Berry, Madhuri Karanam, Lisa Radzanowski, Srinivasa Manapragada, Robert Bickle, Aksa Shakil, Rob Meiser, Marisol Rubio, our city council liaison, and Bill Dorlick, our commission, Parks and Commission liaison. Our accomplishments and actions for 2024. We reviewed current art programs and classes within the city and make recommendations to the staff for improvement. This year, the committee received numerous presentations on the current art programs and classes, including the Doherty Arts Center Community and Visual Arts Performing Art classes and camps, art gallery programs, theater operations at the Doherty Valley Performing Arts Center and Front Row Theater. The committee provided recommendations and feedback on all of the presentations. Select an artist to commission an original piece of artwork for the San Ramon Art and Wind Festival. Again, the committee assisted staff with the selection of an artist to create an original art piece of artwork that will be used on the promotional material for the annual festival. This year, it was Paula Kim, who was selected as the featured artist for the 2025 Art and Wind Festival. Review art gallery exhibit proposals and select exhibits for the Lindsay Drix Brown Gallery, the El Costa Senior and Community Center, the Doherty Art Station Community Center, the City Hall Gallery, and the San Ramon Library Gallery. The committee reviewed a multimedia presentation depicting representative artwork from over 100 artists and artist group. The committee ranked each submission and provided feedback to the staff. Approximately 45 artist groups were selected to the exhibit in the 5 city galleries this year. Review public art proposals from private developments and make recommendation for acceptance to the Planning Commission. It is within the purview of the committee to make recommendations to the Planning Commission on public art proposals from private developments. While the committee did not receive any proposal from this year, the committee held a joint meeting with Parks and Community Services, commissions to receive a presentation on the Bishop Ranch City Walk Public Art Master Plan provided and feedback. Review cultural growth grant applications and recommend a grant amount to the staff. Again, this year, one application was ineligible. The Hansamo Cultural Showcase was approved for $1,500, and Karnataka Composers Music and Dance Festival was approved for up to $1,000. The Hansamo Cultural Showcase used around $1,157 from the Cultural Growth Fund, and Karnataka Composers Music and Dance Festival did not use any funds since they were able to cover their costs for the ticket sales. Encourage Art Advisory Committee members to be an ambassador for the arts, attend a minimum of 4 arts events per year in San Ramon, and provide feedback to the staff. So usually we members attend all these arts events, and we provide feedback to the staff on the Art and Wind Festival and cultural and community celebrations. Update the City of San Ramon 5-year cultural plan for 2024 to 2028. Staff is currently in review of the process of updating the plan for the committee to review. Review the Arts in Public Places program and make recommendations on updates if necessary. Staff is updating again Arts in the Public Places program to bring to the committee for review in early of 2025. Review and make recommendation for future permanent public art projects at the Doherty Arts Center. The Arts Advisory Committee interviewed and recommended an artist for the Doherty Station Community Arts Starville Mural Project, which you'll be hearing more from Adam a little later. Our goals and objectives for 2025, review current art programs and classes within the city at the Doherty Arts Community Station Center, make recommendations to staff for improvement, select an artist to commission an original art piece of artwork for San Ramon Art and Wind Festival, review art gallery exhibit proposals and select exhibits for the Lindsay Driggs Brown Gallery, El Costa Senior Community Center Gallery, the Doherty Station Community Arts Center Gallery, the City Hall Gallery, and the San Ramon Library Gallery. Review public art proposals from private developments and make recommendation for acceptance to the Planning Commission. Review culture growth grant applications and recommend grant amounts to the staff. Encourage Arts Advisory Committee members to be an ambassador for the arts, attend a minimum of 4 arts events per year in San Ramon, and provide feedback to the staff. Update the City of San Ramon 5-year cultural plan 2025 to 2029. Review the Arts and Public Places program and make recommendations on updates if necessary. Recommend an artist to design and install a permanent public art piece to replace the Doherty Station Community Arts Center monument sign. Review and evaluate the current condition of the artwork in public art inventory and make recommendations related to the maintenance and repair if needed. Thank you. And if you have any questions and feedback, that would be appreciated.
All right. Thank you. It's a great presentation. So do we have any commission questions? Can you press the button if you have any questions? Julia.
Thank you. That was very well done.
Thank you.
Very impressed with all the things that the Arts Committee is in charge of. One question I had, and I'm not sure if you can answer, or maybe Adam can, is the review of the Arts and Public Spaces program. So I know we're going to talk about the murals in the Doherty Valley Community Arts Center, but I want to know, are we also looking at other kinds of like pop-up kinds of things within the community, like music, things like that, that may not be something that is a painting or stationery, but that is something that we can do different each year? Just curious if the committee discusses ideas around that.
Yeah, let me, so the public art program specifically outlines permanent public art. And so it defines what public art is within the program. So public art is defined as any sculpture that is created by an artist that is placed in a certain location. That's the general definition of what public art is. We have done different types of pop-up art projects. We do temporary art projects. Some of those are pulled from the public art funds that we have available to us. It just is it depends on what is kind of in the pipeline right now. So right now we do have a couple permanent public art projects that we're working on. Obviously, we're finishing the library project. We're working the mural project. The next step from this is going to be working on the Doherty Station Community Arts Center monument sign. And then once we get those in cycle, then we'll start looking at doing a more different types of art. So whether that's a temporary art project, whether that's a pop-up in a park or different sorts of things. But we have a couple of projects that we've been backed up for a couple of years. And so we're trying to be able to get back on queue. Traditionally, we've done one permanent art project 1 year, then we would do a temporary project, and then we would do a permanent project. Because of COVID, we've been kind of behind the ball, and so we're trying to be able to catch back up on some projects we're trying to accomplish.
Thanks, Adam. Is the utility boxes, would that be in this category?
That would be in that temporary public art category.
I'm looking at Review Arts and Public Spaces program, that
Correct.
one.
And so one of the things that we're looking at doing is that the Arts and Public Spaces program it's called a couple different things. It's just the public art program. It's essentially what it is. It is, I think we haven't touched it in probably like 12 or 13 years. And so it's time for an update. We're going to look at cleaning it up to make sure that the verbiage in there is still valid, to make sure that we have the clarity in regards to how the program is run, what we can use funds on, and how we can be able to operate the program more efficiently, and how a lot of other cities are doing it, especially with a growing public art program. We want to make sure that we are not putting ourselves into a box, and we can be able to have a little more leniency into some of the projects we're looking at.
Thank you. Commissioner Britt?
Thank you for your presentation. Appreciate it. Question deals with the 5-year cultural plan for 25-29. What is our plans on sharing it back once it's done with the public?
And so the 5-year cultural plan, the great thing about it is that there's a lot of community input into it. So we've actually already done a lot of the community surveys. We've done the art summit that we had several years ago. So we have the information, we have all the pieces. We just got to be able to put it into the paper to be able to write everything out. Once we have it all completed, it will go back out to the community. So everybody who's participated in providing information, input into how the plan is created, will definitely make sure that everybody has a good understanding of what it is that we're trying to be able to accomplish over the next 5 years in regards to our art program. So with the plan, we'll make sure that we'll take it to the Arts Advisory Committee, we'll take it to this commission, we'll take it to the City Council as well for presentations. But in addition to that, we'll just make sure our artists and our arts community is aware of what we have going on as well.
Yeah, because I thought the input was really good. I just want to make sure that all those people that showed up,
Oh,
that
absolutely.
there was a forum to say, hey, we took your input, thanks for your time, and here's what we came out with. So it'd be great to see kind of, okay, once we're done with it, here's how we're going to share it with the public to get, and who knows, 2 people may show up, you might have 200, right? But at least we went through the process. I want to make sure there's some process in place.
Exactly. I think the key, one of the parts of that too, is that the Art Summit that we collected a lot of that information from, there were a lot of key stakeholders, some on this dais today and
Yeah.
a lot of people in the community. And so it was really important for us to be able to get that and be able to close that loop, be able to let people know that we value their input. We helped create this plan. And we want to make sure that everybody knows that their input is valuable. And as we're going to do it probably again in another couple of years, to be able to get more community input. And as we develop plans and we make adjustments, we want to make sure that our community members know that they feel valued.
And then thank you so much. The last question is on number 10, which I know is new and I love it, but how are you going to prioritize? Let's say you get a list after everyone's done their survey. How are you going to prioritize if you only have so much money? How are you going to prioritize which is the most important from standpoint of maintenance? That's on public. I know private. I read the private part of it, but the
Yeah.
public.
No, absolutely. So one of the things that we're trying to be able to do is just be able to, the number 10 is to be able to look at the maintenance for our public art. One of the things that we are lacking in right now is how do we maintain the public art that we have installed, specifically the ones that we own. So that's on public property.
Right.
Private property, we want to make sure that there's 2 parts to this. Private property, we want to make sure that the artwork is still there, that is still viable, that it looks nice. And if not, then we'll go back to the property owner and be able to say, hey, your public art needs a little zhuzhing, needs a little cleanup or maintenance. So we go back to them with that. Obviously, public art that we own, we want to make sure that is well kept, that it is maintained. And so if we see something, we'll be able to make sure we address that with our public services department. If we need to do further assessments, the key with what we're trying to be able to do is be able to get that initial phase out there. We'll say, do we need to do more inspections? And so the Arts Advisory Committee is going to be a great hand in helping us be able to get out to the 60 some odd pieces of public art that we have to make sure that they're where they're supposed to be, and help us take some pictures, update them, and make sure that we know what condition that they're in right now. And then staff will be able to follow up from that point.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Levy?
Sure, thank you. I did have a quick question about the 2024 goal. I think number 4, review public art proposals from private developments and make recommendations for acceptance to the Planning Commission. I saw you kind of folded the joint meeting that we had, this commission and the Arts Advisory Committee, about the Bishop Ranch City Walk Public Art Master Plan. And I know that the fruition of that plan is very, very long-term, very far in the future, and there's not necessarily going to be progress on it made each year. Is there any plan to do like a check-in or something in the next year with the Arts Advisory Committee about that, or
Specifically regarding to the Bishop Ranch.
yes?
So the Bishop Branch Arts Master Plan is, I'm going to turn that over to Kathy because she's actually been working on that. So
Yeah, we are working with Bishop Ranch on that right now. And so we're still sorting through how that works. And there's some good tangles with it and how we can make it be beneficial for both Bishop Ranch and for the city. So once we get that plan to a place where it's in good shape, then it will come back to both the Arts Advisory and the commission to take a look at, but it's not quite there yet. So we are getting closer.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. All right. Commissioner Dolic?
So I think just one thing to bring up is that in the past, maintenance wasn't a real focal point when we were looking at either new public art or, a new or maintaining the public art that was already there. So it's just been over the last couple of years that maintenance has become a really important part of looking at the public art. I mean, when we originally did the sculpture in Central Park, I don't think we had a budget for maintenance in there. And then all of a sudden engineering said, well, how are we going to attach this to the ground? So it's become a recognized part of the process just over the last several years, maybe 5 years. And it becomes an important part because it does take a budget part of the fees. That's why we went to a 2-year cycle on public art rather than a 1-year cycle. Because 1 year with a $30,000, if that's the same allocation that we get, is it $30,000 a year for the public? art?
It's $20,000 a year.
20,000.
Essentially.
Well, because we already took out the 10 for, yeah. So it used to be $30,000 and then nobody thought about the maintenance. And then all of a sudden you had to think about the maintenance. And so you only really have 20,000 for the art and 10,000 for engineering, maintenance, et cetera. So that's something that's been taken into account just, the last 5-6 years in the plan looking forward. And it's an important part to keep in mind because it's nice to have the public art, especially when it's on private land. But if it's not maintained, it just doesn't make it. So the maintenance item became important just over the last 5 or 6 years when we all just went, oh my goodness, that's an important part.
All right, that's a very good, very valid and good point. Anybody else has any other question? No, okay. Just one thing, I feel like Commissioner Britt brought it up, Art Summit. I had some question about the Art Summit and also the feedback how far we are with that, and any of these things is in place right now, or in future, are we planning for any Art Summit in future?
Yeah, so I think the goal is we're going to complete the 5-year cultural plan this year. So we should be able to hopefully do it within the next 6 months. Once we do that, we're going to be able to announce it, let everybody know. And then the goal is that every 2 years, we want to try and be able to do an art summit.
Right.
So
And
that's-
the last one was last year or
Last
year
one was
before?
2022.
2 years back.
Yeah.
2 years back.
Very good.
Almost
I
3.
want to say 2022 is the last one we did.
Yeah.
Feels like-
Feels like last year. Yes.
Everything feels like last year.
Time flies. But yeah. Okay. All right. So let's move on to public comments. Do we have any public comment? We don't have anything. All right. Let's move on to commission comments. Commissioner comments. Should we go around the table? Anything special? Anybody has anything? No? Okay. That says how awesome the whole presentation was.
Thank you.
No, you guys are awesome. Art Advisory Committee does a phenomenal job. I was part of it at once, so definitely it was. So, all right, thank you. Thanks a
Thank you
lot.
so
Ed.
much.
Very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody.
We do need to make a recommendation to
Yes.
move it on to the city council.
Yes.
So I move that we receive the 2024 Arts Advisory Committee annual report and recommend it to the city council
I'll
for
second,
acceptance.
It'll move.
Oh,
I'll second it.
That's it. Yes. All right. 7:00. Thank you.
you.
All right, moving on. Item number 7.2, Doherty Station Community Arts Center Stairwell Mural Project Artist Approval. Recommendation, receive report and approve recommendation presented by Adam Chow, Recreation Supervisor.
All right. Good evening. Again, I didn't get very far, so. All right, this evening, the Arts Advisory Committee and staff have been working together towards public art. So we get a couple different discussions about public art this evening. The Doherty Station Community Arts Center, we've had a project there identified as the Stairway Murals. And so what we're going to do this evening is we are looking for artists for the Stairwell project. The Arts Advisory Committee has reviewed them, and they have recommended 2 artists this evening for review, and that is Joshua Powell and Deborah Kopman. And so what I wanted to do this evening is I really wanted to start with an overview of the public art process and how it is that we come to do our public art selections and the process and kind of where we're at in this. And so to be able to get us started, wanted to talk about how we select our projects, where we're at, and how we can be able to get them in the spots that they're at. So in general, the staff and the Arts Advisory Committee, we have discussions in regards to what projects we have and what needs that the community has. Specifically for this mural project, murals have been identified by the Arts Advisory Committee and by other committee members through the Art Summit and other places, as murals are a priority for us to be able to try and find locations for us to be able to put them. Well, it just so happened that as the Doherty Station Community Arts Center came on board, we happened to have a lot of space, and in an effort to engage that space and make it alive, we have a lot of blank walls. And so we found an opportunity to be able to create a project that increased the murals that we have in San Ramon, which we currently have only a couple of them, and be able to have that location, to be able to have that project be able to come to fruition. So that's where we got started on this. And the projects in general are approved usually through the staff and Arts Advisory Committee have those conversations. Depending on the nature of the project, if it's a larger project, it'll come to the commission for approval. Locations will usually can come to the commission for approval as well. For example, the Library Public Art Project, that's a bigger project. And so the book that is going to be installed this week was a project that came through the Arts Advisory Committee, was reviewed, and then was approved by the Parks Commission at that point. And then so this project that we're talking about today for the murals, it was something that was identified through the staff and our Arts Advisory Committee. Because the project is a smaller in scale, we decided we would and moved ahead with it. That's the first step. So you got to figure out what project we're going to do, right? So the second step is to be able to develop and issue the RFQ according to city specs and city standards. So that's developing the scope of work. That is figuring out all the contract language, all the necessary details to be able to get the work done, working with the artists. And so that is what staff takes care of. And we're able to make sure that all that stuff gets squared away. So once we get into a contract and once we get into the process, our artists know what they're supposed to be doing. We know what we're supposed to be doing. Everybody's got all their P's and Q's and I's and T's dotted across and all those sorts of things. And once we get that RFQ, we send it out. We usually wait about a month for artists to be able to come back to us. We send it to a ton of different artist lists. We research to figure out who we want to be able to apply for these types of projects, and we make sure that we have a good wealth of different artists applying for these things. For the project that we have before us this evening, for the stairwell project, we did put it out for a month, and then we received 7 applicants in regards to that, most of them locally, which was great to be able to have a good response from local artists. Once we have the responses back, staff does go through and looks at them and does evaluate them. There are several steps in that evaluation process. And so we look at them specifically for completeness to make sure that they have answered and responded to everything that we've asked for. These RFQs are pretty lengthy and pretty, they're not easy for most artists to be able to do. And so that's one of the things that we need to make sure is that we try and make it easy for our artists to be able to complete, but at the same time, we need to make sure that they have all the qualifications and they're able to provide all the information that we need on the city side to make sure that they can be able to run the project and be able to do the project successfully at the same time. So the staff, what we do is we look for completeness. We review based on established evaluation criteria, which is based on the RFQs. As noted for this project, we were looking at them based off of the experience of the project. We were also looking at it based off of, we were looking at it based off of the experience of the project. We were looking at it based off of their references, previous projects that they've done. There have been similar in scope and scale. And so that's what we were really looking for to make sure that they could be able to complete that project. So staff does the initial selection, initial review. For this project, we took 7 in. We ended up with 4 that we recommended for the Arts Advisory Committee to review. The other 3, they did not have very much experience in regards to doing murals, specifically the size that we were looking for. And additionally, one of the ones that we excluded was installation and was not a mural at all. So we excluded that one from the process. So the 4 respondents that we moved forward to the Arts Advisory Committee to interview were specifically qualified applicants that would definitely be able to do the job, have done it similar scope and scale. So we felt confident that they could be able to complete this. Once the staff does the initial review, we go to an interview panel. So we had 3 members of the Arts Advisory Committee who were able to take on this task and be able to take a look at the applicants a little bit closer. So the 3 excuse me, the 3 Arts Advisory Committee members, we met coming up, let's see, I want to say it was October that we did the meeting, and we did it on Teams. And so the questions that we asked the applicants specifically were related to what types of jobs have they done, what kind of challenges have they overcome, have they done things within this financial scale, what community input have they received for projects. So really, we were trying to be able to make sure that this project was going to be able, the artists were going to be able to work with us to be able to make sure that they could be able to accomplish it. So it's one thing to be able to have an artist that says, yes, I can do the project. It's another thing to make sure that they can work within the means that the city is looking for. We want to be able to have some community engagement with the artists to make sure that they will be able to take input, that they can be able to create a design for us that would be sufficient. And if there was feedback from the city, that they would be obviously open to be able to accept that feedback from us as well. So from that interview panel, that goes to it goes from a recommendation from the interview panel, and then it goes to a selection from the Arts Advisory Committee, and that's kind of where the step is that we're right now, as the Arts Advisory Committee did recommend 2 artists to be able to move forward to the Parks Commission. And so that's the continued process. So we go from the Arts Advisory Committee interview panel, makes a recommendation to the Arts Advisory Committee, full Arts Advisory Committee. The full Arts Advisory Committee makes a recommendation to the Parks Commission. And then depending on the scale of the project, if it's a larger public art project, it would go to the city council based off of dollar amount and the nature of the project. But for smaller projects like this, we will be just coming to the commission for approval. Once we approve an artist, then we will go back and we will work with the artist to be able to do the contract, and then we will work with them to be able to do renderings for the project itself. So we'll work with the artist to be able to gather community input, they will talk with staff, they'll talk with community members, they'll talk with the Arts Advisory Committee to be able to determine what that project is actually going to look like, what that design is going to be. And so we have a lot of input into that design in that scale, and staff will do a lot of work back and forth to make sure that that artist has a good understanding of what it is that we want here, and make sure that we have a good design that's moved forward. The great thing is that the Arts Advisory Committee does have a review process in place. So the Arts Advisory Committee will review the design that the artist comes forward with, and then if the Arts Advisory Committee agrees with it and approves it, they will bring it to the Parks Commission. So the Parks Commission at a later date will be able to look at the design and be able to approve that design from the artist. It is a conceptual design. So as you know, parks are developed and things like that, there are some changes that may end up happening with it. But it is a conceptual design that the commission will be able to approve at a later date. And then once that is approved, then we move into project implementation. So depending on the project, it is a number of different things. With our art piece that's going at the library, it was a almost 3-year fabrication, design, engineering, permits, et cetera, et cetera. So for this project that we're talking about this evening, the murals will be a lot quicker. It'll be a smaller project, and we should be able to get this done. The idea is that hopefully in the next 6 to 9 months, we'll have it completed, if not sooner. So that's the quick overview on the public art process. It is obviously a lot more detailed. There's a lot more things that are involved with it, but I wanted to make sure that this commission had an idea of how this process moves forward and how we are able to get all of our public art projects started. So that's the quick overview.
Adam, can I add one thing
Yes, sir.
just real quick? On the very beginning, with step 1, it's also important to recognize that a lot of these projects are technically, the project is approved through the CIP project process. So a lot of these will be included in the CIP as we go to this commission and the city council. Not the specifics, but so for example, the commission and the council approved the 2 murals in the Doherty Station Community Arts Center through the CIP project last year. So just as an FYI on that helps with the approval process. So I just wanted to add that as part of that step that we go through before we hit the ground running with interviews and stuff. So
Thank you,
sorry.
Brad.
Thank you.
All right. So I wanted to go over the current project of what we were looking at. So I wanted to give you a visual picture of the spaces that we are looking at. So I'm sure most of you have been to the Doherty Station Community Arts Center, been through the stairwells. You do notice the big blank wall in front of you as you are walking up or going down the stairs. That's the blank canvas that we were looking at today. So it does measure, this is the north stairwell. This is about 150 square feet. Both of them are about the same. This one is basically one level, easy wall. The second stairwell is the south stairwell. That's the one that's closest to the art gallery and closest to the registration desk. And so this is the one that has a little landing in the middle of it. This is about 150 square feet as well. So we're looking to be able to paint that back wall on it. And so with the RFQ that we put out, I mentioned before, we did have 7 artists. We did move forward with 4 artists for interviews. The Arts Advisory Committee members that did the interviews, so we actually have a couple here this evening who did the interviews with me. At the conclusion of the interviews, the interview panel did not have a recommendation for a selection of artists at that point. And the reason for that is that they felt that all the artists were very well qualified, and they were all very well qualified because they have done this type of projects before. They would work with the community in regards to getting input into what the design would be. They are open to receiving feedback from staff and the community. So the interview panel felt it was really that they were all very well qualified in order to be able to move forward. They felt that the type of art and the style of each artist played a more significant role in the selection process than the ability to be able to do the project. And so we took all 4 artists to the Arts Advisory Committee to be able to review. The Arts Advisory Committee reviewed them actually not once, but twice. And so we reviewed them in November 20th and December 18th to be able to talk about the merit of the artist and the different types of styles of the artwork. The first thing that they did do is that we had in the RFQ, there was an option to be able to have one artist to do both stairwells or one artist for each stairwell. And so the committee and the committee recommended that we had 2 artists, one for each stairwell. So that way we have varying art within the facility. So that was the first recommendation that they put forward. And then the second recommendation, the Arts Advisory Committee recommended the 2 artists to be able to move forward, and that was Joshua Powell and Deborah Koppman. The committee recommended Joshua Powell for his visual appealing style, versatility with different genres, longevity of his work, and the research of the subject matter into the murals. And the committee also recommended Deborah Koppman for her mosaic style, connection with nature, quality of work, and willingness to interact with the community while developing the design and while creating the work as well. And so the committee also noted there would be good contrasting styles between the 2. One is a mosaic style, that is Deborah Koppman, and Joshua Powell has some, he does a couple different styles, but it's a little, some of them you could call retro or more classic muralist styles. This was approved by the Arts Advisory Committee in a 5-2 vote. The committee members who voted no preferred Dave Titus over Deborah Koppman due to his 3-dimensional style and the vibrancy of his work. So this evening, what we are going to be, the next steps after this, after the selection of the artists, we'll be preparing the contracts that I mentioned, and then the artists will be able to start developing conceptual designs. The conceptual designs will include feedback from staff and community members, as I had mentioned before, and will be brought back to the AAC and to the Parks Community Services Commission for review. So design is going to come up later. So with that, the Arts Advisory Committee recommends the Parks Community Services Commission approve Joshua Powell and Deborah Koppman as the 2 artists for the Doherty Station Community Arts Center mural project.
Thank you, Adam. Really appreciate that. I was going through that. This is amazing. It's all those things. And I agree that all 4 of them really qualified so that any of them will do really good job. Do that. With that, let's start with questions from commission. Okay, can we press this?
I think I did too.
You did? Okay, let me see.
Go ahead, Joel.
It just said no speaker in queue.
It told me there's like 3 of them.
Well, do have questions here.
Okay, yeah, go ahead, please.
Are you sure? I was just wondering, Adam, thank you. That was very thorough. And the 2 that you chose were like, wow, amazing. Yeah. Do you give any like direction at the start of the process to the artists around themes or subject matter or anything like that? Or is it just kind of a blank slate and then you start the process?
Yeah, so when we get to that design process, there will be input. So there'll be conversations in regards to what themes. The artists may have an idea of what they want to do already, and sometimes they do. Sometimes they have a theme that they like to work around already. So that may be nature, that may be landscapes. It could be a number of different sorts of things. So we would work with the artists to be able to say, have those conversations. What is something that you're looking at? Here's stuff that we're looking at. We would work with the Arts Advisory Committee to be able to say, here are some things that you would want to be able to have included in it. This is what we want to feel, or this is what we want to have represented within this mural. So there'll be a lot of those conversations in regards to the design.
Cool. Great. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't see any names, so go ahead, please.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Thanks, Adam, and thank you. Chair Mitra. Okay, so I'm curious. I mean, yeah, this is such a hard decision because there's so much talent. I'm curious though, why 2 artists? How did that come up? Is it because we had 4 to choose from? Or was that a decision that kind of came up early in the process? I'm just curious because in the RFQ, it did say that we could choose 2 or 1, but I'm just curious how we arrived at that.
Yeah, and the conversation was that we have really high quality artists. And so having 2 different murals from representing 2 different artists would provide a wider breadth of opportunities and art for people to be able to look at. So contrasting styles and could be able to provide 2 different perspectives into art rather than one artist doing 2 projects. They could have a very similar feel to them. And so providing 2 different perspectives in those murals was something that the Arts Advisory Committee wanted to do.
Okay, thank you, because I wanted to understand that. And yeah, because the 2 that were selected have very different styles, very different styles, and colors were very different to me. About the interviews, I wanted to find out about, you had interviews, and it sounds like, you had that on Teams?
Correct. We did it online.
Did the artists have an opportunity to share slides of their work? How did that process play out?
Yeah. So we had a list of questions for the interview specifically. The panelists were provided with copies of the responses by the artists. Within the responses from the artists, there are a number of different project samples that the artists have provided. And actually, I forgot to show you. I have those as well. So this is what they were shown previously. So all the different artists were provided, and this is exactly coming from their responses of what it is that they have done. And so they could be able to see the different types of work that each of these artists have been able to create. So yes, they were able to see the samples of the artwork from the different artists based off the responses that were submitted.
Okay. And then the last question I have is the 2 spaces are different. One
Yes.
looks a little bit more complicated to carry a theme through. That just could be me. The one that's the second one
Yeah,
that you showed.
I'll get to that one. This one.
That one. Yeah.
And so I think it's up to the artists to be able to do what they can with it. And artists are very creative. And so I think we can be able to find it with any of these artists, we can be able to work with them to be able to make something happen.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anybody else has any question? Yeah, please go ahead.
Like community need, like how you or like community want, like just like the process for figuring out.
Yeah, so for the design process, it's going to be a combination of us working with the Arts Advisory Committee and then also working with the artists to be able to come up with a good design. And so the Arts Advisory Committee will be able to provide some input into what types of maybe themes that they want to have, what kind of style, what they're looking for. The nice thing is that these artists have provided, as has been shown, they provided some samples of different things that they've already done previously. So we can have an idea of, we know what their style is going to look like, right? And so I think it depends on what that content's going to be. We can be able to help shape that content. Sometimes, and this happens frequently with a lot of our designs, that we don't know what we want until we see something that we don't want. And so that happens frequently for us too. And so it's like, we know what we kind of want. And then sometimes you say, this is what I want. And then sometimes it comes back, you're like, you know what, that wasn't exactly what I wanted. I didn't know what I didn't want until I saw what I didn't want. So there's a back and forth to that. That's why we're looking for artists who are open to receiving feedback, to be able to help create a design that really fits with what we're looking for and has a good feel for what we want within the Arts Center and what feels good for our community as well. Yeah, so the timeline that we have right now is that we were hoping to be able to get these done by June, but we've been pushed back we got a couple delays already in the process. So we're looking at 6 to 9 months is what we're hoping at to be able to get these completed.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Hey, Adam, thanks. I know you saw my questions, but I'm going to ask a couple of them. You know, I'm still struggling on how we chose the artist. You know, I mean, I read that, you know, the style and, you know, the connection to nature and quality. I mean, I've read that, but it seems like we had a very detailed, you know, previous artwork proposal, and I just feel there's not enough information for me to kind of make a decision that this was the right choice. So I need more information. Tell me more information on how staff also then with the 4 from the standpoint of the data you used, and then how the Arts Commission all of a sudden sounds like there's a unique conversation arts commission. So how they kind of measured and determined exactly besides the style, right? I'm just not super clear.
Yeah, so staff, what we do is we have a rating system with internally for staff. And so we rate it on, in the RFQ, there's a number of different qualifications. So we take those qualifications and the staff does the evaluation off of that. And so there was 3 staff that did the evaluation initially for the rankings. That's how we got from 7 to 4. So staff did the evaluation on that.
Valuation based, sorry, and am I interrupted during this? I normally don't do that, but I saw this, the valuation based on previous body of artwork, proposal approach and references.
Correct.
So when you do previous body of work and design aesthetics, so how do you determine that? I mean,
So what staff is looking at when we look at those specifically, so previous body of work, make sure that they have a breadth of work, that they have pieces that would be comparable to what it is that we're trying to be able to do. So if there's a number of different projects that we receive, number of things that we receive. So one, some of them we're doing utility boxes. Is that comparable to scope and scale of what it is that we're trying to be able to accomplish with this project?
Yep.
Is it did they just submit just like 12 by 18 pieces of paintings that they had done previously? So we looked at a number of those pieces to see if it was comparable in that realm in regard to what it is that we're trying to be able to accomplish with this project. So each of those had a different rating scale for us, and we do have a rubric that kind of goes along with that. If they've done similar types of projects, if they've done it for municipalities, have they done it for, I mean, how many they have done, how many pieces that they've done, what's the longevity that they've been doing it. So there's a rubric in regards to the scoring scale that we do have in regards to that.
and how many staff people?
It's 3 staff people. So it was myself, it was Rania Thomas, it was May Malinik.
Okay, cool. And then from the Arts Advisory Committee, how did they end up, besides looking at the style, was any other measures they used?
Yeah, so during the interview process, there was a rating scale for the interview process.
Okay.
Everything was very close. It was basically they all averaged out to be out close, so close that it was immeasurable.
Right.
So it was very difficult for us. That's why we came forward with no recommendation, and it was based off of style. And so the committee, when they got to it, the interview panel, when they got to it, it was so close that they could not make a recommendation off the interview questions specifically. The interview questions specifically did not relate to style. They related to how the artist would be able to do the work. And so that's why they wanted to make sure that the Arts Advisory Committee looked at the style specifically. And so when we got to the full Arts Advisory Committee, they looked specifically at style, not if the artists could be able to do the work, because they've all qualified essentially at that point. So it was all based off of style.
Okay, so you got 4 people going to the Arts Advisory Committee. How did they determine? Was it just what they liked? How they determined?
Yeah, so that it was conversations. So we had
Okay.
2 meetings, had conversations in regards to what they liked, what they felt would be good for our community, what they felt would have good longevity, what they felt that the artists could be able to create something that would be good and representative of our community.
Okay, and then the last question, sorry about the questions, but I've been, as you know, I put a lot of thought into this one. And then the last question is, when do we decide on artwork when we get more community input? So I know our calories would change them in and out, but this one's there for 10 years. When do we decide how we get community input? And I know the Arts Advisor represents that, but we need additional community input.
Yeah, and so depending on the artist and depending on what the artist time frame, we figure out how we make that work. So we can do community surveys. Some of the artists said that they want to be in the facility and be able to meet people and kind of watch how how people interact and go back and forth. So there's a number of different ways that artists are able to capture information and gather information from the community members. I mean, we've done focus groups, we've done conversations with different stakeholders, we've done a number of different things. And so there are different tools that are at our disposal in regards to how we gather information from the community for some of these murals.
Okay, thanks.
Anybody else has any other question? No. So Adam, thanks, Commissioner Britt, for all the questions, because I think this is also some of my questions as well, that how did we select? Because they are so different style-wise. And just choosing one over other is like, how do we decide? Because all are very good, very on that one. And I have my own choices, but again, at the same time, I guess there are some subjective decisions, there are some question-wise objective decisions as well. And as you said, Art Advisory Committee was not anonymously selected. They had 5-2, right? So that tells the story how debatable this whole thing was, which I like it because there are people who have different opinions. They come up with that. So I don't have any other questions at this point, but I have some comments later. So I'll go with public comments. No public comments. Okay. All right. Commission comments. I'm not seeing any names, so please raise your hands. I don't see the names.
His defense is not
I'm not seeing any names here.
Okay,
So please go ahead.
All right. No, I appreciate the presentation, Adam, and the feedback from my fellow commissioners. I think this one's a little tricky just because, one, art is inherently subjective in that, different things appeal to different people. And then two, the RFQ didn't call for what mural would you put here specifically. It's more of like, are you capable of handling a job of this scale? What are some examples of your previous work? That sort of thing, which I think is probably the right way to go about this. But that also means essentially that we're approving, choosing an artist without knowing exactly what they're going to come up with. I'm willing to be comfortable with that. I think that's probably a good way to approach a project like this. I do really like the fact that they went with two different artists with two very different styles. I think that helps really showcase the full breadth of the Doherty Station Community Arts Center. And I think that was the right call rather than to try to go with, two very similar styles. So really you're choosing kind of someone's overall sort of house style and evaluating that. And I think the two that the committee has recommended are, I think, really good choices. So no, I like how the process played out, and yeah, I don't envy anyone who was involved with the evaluations because it's definitely a tough choice to make.
All right. Yeah. Student Commissioner, do you have any comment?
Looks really great. I'm really excited to see the final product. And yeah, I think like the whole application was very thorough. I'm sure that you guys took a lot of time thinking about what you wanted portrayed on the center. It really shows. I'm really excited to see the future of it.
Commissioner Levy?
Well, thank you for the presentation, because reading through this, I mean, it showed that what you really went through to be very thorough. And so I think I appreciate that. And I would be agreeable that I think the selection of two different artists is a good idea to make sure that we've got some differences in the community. So I'm very happy with it. I think you did a great job.
Okay. All right. Commissioner Dolly?
Yeah, thank you. Art and the selection is subjective. I mean, that's just the nature of the, art. It's like Pope Julius and Michelangelo. Michelangelo has a vision, Julius has got money. Who won? It's all subjective, and I don't think Michelangelo went in and said, I'm gonna do this. It evolved as the project goes. And that's the way that most of the art for the selection process comes in from the artist, because there's a specific project, but somebody hasn't necessarily done that specific project in a stairwell. And here, it's the same thing with the Art and Wind Festival artist. Just over the last 2 years, we've asked them to do a draft of what do you think it would look like. Prior to that, it was just what's their style? How do you represent things? What's your color selection? Where's the vibrancy and theme? So it is subjective, and that's why you can't go out to the public, because as one of my product managers once said, if you ask 10 product managers about what a product should be, you get 12 different answers. Everybody's going to have their own opinion. The hope is you go with a quality artist that has a vision that can be not just in their mind, but help to be shaped by the environment that they're putting their art into. I remember when Dale Rogers did that first piece, he spent a couple of days just walking around San Ramon because he had no idea what he was going to do, but he was the artist that was selected because of his body of work. And so it is very subjective. You don't have any grid, necessarily in most cases, and I think it was a discussion over 2 meetings, and it was very, very vibrant. And so there was a lot that came out of it. And yeah, there were some people who liked a couple of the other people, in a better, but overall, everybody was in agreement when you walk out of the room. So I would recommend moving forward with the recommendation from the Arts Advisory Committee.
Thank you, Commissioner Dorlich. Commissioner Britt?
Yeah, hey, first of all, thanks, Adam, for bringing this forward and thanks to Arts Advisory Committee for all the work on this. I am not feeling super comfortable with this. I'm not comfortable with all the input we've got and some of the measures as when we went through. I understand that some of the subjective measure and the gut for me with the vote 5-2 on the Arts Advisory Committee kind of tells me we need more input on it. So, or get, more of the public comment. And when art's more permanent and it's here for like 10 years, I'm a little more, it'd be nicer to have more of the majority of supporting it. So I'm not going to support this tonight because I think that we need to feather this out more and get a little more input on the artists we're using. And I'm just not comfortable with, we had 2 meetings. They were tied 4-4 going into it, right? We went to the Arts Advisory Committee, you had a 5-2 vote. And for me, it's not super clear that the artists were the right artists we might have chosen. So for me, I think we need to go back and get a better majority, get more input on it from a measure standpoint. So for me, I'm not in favor of doing it going forward with this because of it's not definite to me. So especially after all I read, and that's why it's pushing on that data as we take a look at making a decision on it. So though I know a lot of work went into it too. It's just, this is probably the first time in a long time that it's like, I just don't have enough data to make the right choice. And I think we need more input, community, whatever that is. So thanks.
Thank you, Vice Chair Britt. Commissioner Osler?
Well, that's why I was asking about the interview too, because I wanted to know a little bit more about how the kinds of questions they were asked, kind of like what you guys were looking for. Did they get an opportunity to present their work? I know it came in the proposals, but I was just curious about that. I'm not in any way wanting to, I feel slightly different. I think the candidates that we were able to review were really high quality. And I think the 2 that were selected do give a very different approach to their work. Their experience speaks very well. I mean, these 2 are, well, all of them, but these 2 in particular have done projects for public municipalities. They understand the process. I really liked how they talked about their past experience and how they approach their work. So I don't really have any issues around the 2 candidates that were selected. I think for me, I feel a little bit different. I'm kind of like balance. I like a lot of balance, and having very different approaches feels a little disjointed to me personally, but that's just my personal opinion. But I'm going to be supportive of the process here. I would have preferred an interview in person so that the artists could have met the Arts Advisory Committee interviewers in person and had an opportunity to kind of see how they may interact with you guys in person. That's why I didn't really like the Teams thing. I think that something like this, it's a very personal, emotional experience to make this kind of a selection. And I think meeting the people in person would have been a better approach. But I'm going to support the 2 artists that were selected.
Thank you, Commissioner Osler. Commissioner Koenig?
So I also support the process as well as selection. I trust the process that that staff and the committee took. I'm sure that it doesn't end here, right? I mean, this is just the start of it. So you have a lot more to go through before you have the final. So I did have one additional question, however, just in regards to budget. How do you approach that? Do you just enter into negotiations with the particular contractor, and do you have a sort of a baseline? Do they come to you with their fee, or do you have a budget going into the project?
Yeah, so when we do the RFQ, we do say what the budget is going to be. And so the budget for this is there's 2 $10,000 allotments is what we have. And so that allotment includes the artist fee, includes any supplies, it includes insurance, everything that they would need to be able to do the project. It is included in that $10,000. And so they need to be able to do that project. Basically, here's the money and you figure out how to make it happen.
And they provide all the supplies and everything that they need, you do, okay, got it.
Correct.
Got it, okay. Great, yeah, sounds good.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner Coney. Adam, you heard a lot about the process today, and I think you guys did the best that you could do, and it was a long process, a lot of involvements, a lot of 2 meetings and interviews and all those things. So really appreciate that effort, not only you, as well as the whole Art Advisory Committee members as well. So really appreciate that. But I do take from Commissioner Breed as well as Commissioner Othland's comments, right? I think something art, I wish we would have had a personal in-person interview. And that would have been better. That would be my choice. That my personal thing as well. Because something we are talking about art, it's very important. It's very personal. So I think that would have been better as well. I'm not that much worried about the other parts, but as well, looking at 5-2 choices, and I spent a lot of time on those murals, looking at them, and my personal choices, Dev Tutus would be one of them that I would go with, definitely on that. But having said that, I know you guys have spent a lot of time on that, make your best judgment. So I will go with the Art Advisory Committee selections, but just wanted to say that I would definitely go with the Dev Tutus, because I kind of like that style personally, that one. Just having said that, but I would definitely go with Art Advisory Committee's recommendations, because that has spent so much time and effort and real effort put into that to select this selection on that. One quick question though. So there are 2 stairwell, right? How do we decide who will be assigned to what?
That is a good question. I'll have conversations with both of the artists to see if they have a vision or an idea for specifically the south stairwell. And then we'll have a conversation in regards to it. So, but once we have a selection, then I'll be able to talk to the artists, and because we still need to have conversations in regards to contracts and make sure that all that stuff lines up correctly.
So this is not decided yet.
It's not decided who's going to do which stairwell.
Okay. And also, I think you already said that this is just the first phase. Once we have the actual design, it'll come back to Art Advisory Committee, as well as we get a chance to see it as well?
Yes, you will get to see the conceptual design. Yes.
Conceptual design. So, okay. All right. Thank
For
you.
clarity, you get to approve it.
Approve it,
So
correct. Yes.
just so you know, and I want to make sure that you're clear on this as a commission. Your decision tonight is you can approve the 2 artists that the Arts Advisory Committee has brought forward, or you can recommend different artists. That is within your purview. It is your decision as a commission, and the Arts Advisory Committee is providing you with this extra work and this expertise, but it is ultimately your decision to make. So any recommendation that you as a group make and agree upon is what will go forward for contract.
So if we choose a different artist, if we prefer to choose a different artist, it has to be voted.
Correct. Tonight you are voting either to approve, I don't have their names correctly, Deborah and
Kottman and Joshua Powell.
Joshua Powell, or you're voting to approve one of them and another artist, or whichever artist that you deem to be correct in your minds. That's your purview and your decision.
All right, well, I'll make a recommendation to receive the report and approve the recommended artists, Powell and Copley, by the Art Advisory Committee, and so moved.
I'll second that motion.
Okay.
I don't have a button to
I
second.
don't have
Yeah.
neither do I have a
My
button
button
to
worked.
Mine doesn't work. Vote results with nothing.
You want to move?
Only.
Yeah, it's seniority chair. Carol and I, our stuff works.
I don't see anything.
I did it first.
I know second.
Kyle did the second.
Yep.
Okay. Don't even see, I don't even get a chance to vote here. Yes, please do that. Please do orally. Approve.
Vice Chair Reed,
No.
Commissioner Lopez Lucy,
Yes.
Julia, and Commissioner Odom,
Aye.
Commissioner.
Aye.
Not going to show up there.
Oh, it's not going to show up.
Yeah.
So this is 6-1? 6-1? All right. So the motion passed. Thank you, Adam. Thank
Adam.
you. Thank you, Ranjini. Really appreciate that.
I'm number one in line this week.
I don't know. It's not nothing.
I could
What's
se-
going on?
I can still second it, but this is the one I wasn't gonna second. Yeah.
See, this is like completely blank. My screen is completely blank. I don't see anything.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. All right. Okay. Moving on. 7.3, 2024 Aquatic Program Review Recommendation, Receive Report and Provide Feedback, presented by Kevin Boggs, and Recreation Supervisor, and Amanda Tagwal, Recreation Coordinator. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Good evening, Commissioners. Tonight we'll be presenting an overview of the 2024 Aquatic Program Review. So thank you for being here tonight. I am Kevin Boggs, Aquatic Supervisor.
And I am Amanda Tugwell, Aquatics Coordinator.
Aquatics is a unique program in the Parks and Community Services Department in the sense that we actually are required to have certification. So between Amanda and I, we're both certified pool operators. We're lifeguard certified. We have instructor level certifications, and we also have instructor trainer level certifications. Amanda and I are both passionate about aquatics. We also serve on the Bay Area Public Pool Operators Association board. I was the previous past president, and Amanda is actually the current secretary and treasurer.
Cool.
So the goal of that association is to help educate and connect local aquatic professionals as well.
The City of San Ramon operates 2 aquatic facilities and 5 pools year-round to serve the needs of the community. Both locations are fully maintained by the City of San Ramon's Public Services Department, who we work closely with on a daily basis. Between the 2 facilities, we employ 118 lifeguards, senior lifeguards, and pool managers. A variety of programs are offered at both sites, such as summer camps, swim lessons, recreation swim, lap swim, safety courses, and aqua aerobics. Additionally, we offer inclusive features at the facilities so that all members of the community are able to participate. A quick breakdown of of each of the sites. This is the San Ramon Olympic Pool. It has a 50-meter pool with dive well, a 25-yard instructional pool, and a seasonal interactive play pool. And this is the Doherty Valley Aquatic Center, and it has a 50-meter pool with dive well and a seasonal splash pool.
So before we jump into the programs offered, we wanted to include some of the master plan goals that the Aquatics Division touches on. Unfortunately, this wasn't provided in the original presentation in your packet, but we wanted to kind of outline a number of the different goals that we obviously do. I know it's probably, I don't know what screen you guys are looking on, but squint if you have to.
Perfectly fine.
And thank you. Yeah, thank you for
Yeah. So we can, if you guys have additional questions, we can, always go back to these as well. Give you a little bit.
Yeah, can you please?
Yeah,
just
yeah,
quick
certainly.
Highlights would be helpful.
So goal 3.1, reflect and meet the needs of an aging and diverse population. 3.1A is addressing changing needs for the parks and recreation facilities and amenities. 3.1B, addressing programming opportunities. Goal 3.2 is develop park amenities and events that promote wellness and community connectedness to reduce social isolation and relieve stress. 3.2A, emphasizing programming that responds to different cultural segments, focuses on multi-generational and intergenerational opportunities, and brings a geographically diverse community together, such as movie nights, food trucks, cafes, etc. 3.2C, increase fitness and wellness programming offering by 2 to 3 per year. Goal 3.3, utilize partnerships to increase use of park facilities. 3.3B, increase communication and partnership with community groups by leveraging their communication networks to increase awareness and benefits of parks and programs. 3.4, use technology to increase park use and participation in recreation programs. 3.4A, use social media and technology tools such as apps to connect with teens and increase park use. Goal 4.1D, maintain and enhance the partnership and joint use agreements with the San Ramon Unified School District to maintain community access to neighborhood and community park amenities and recreation facilities. Goal 4.3L, the San Ramon Olympic Pool renovations. And then 4.5, utilize technology and tracking performance measures to establish and execute programming, operations, and maintenance. And then 4.5B, continue tracking of performance measures for recreation programs to continually evaluate needs, market focus, and the ability of the program to meet service and financial goals. Thank you.
A few months ago, you heard from our colleague providing a review of summer camps. Let's take a deeper dive into the aquatic specific offerings, which
Deep end.
include
Deep end drive.
Don't go off the deep end.
these include both in-house and contractor provided camps. Our Star Guards camp is a in-house summer camp that has a new theme each week. Our Tennis and Aquatics camp is a partnership between Bonacera Tennis and Aquatics, where participants play tennis in the morning and are by the pool in the afternoon. This is our most popular camp. We have increased the amount of weeks offered for next summer due to its popularity. Our Junior Guard camps, where teens learn first aid and water rescue skills. This is a feeder program for hiring lifeguards. Splash Ball is an intro program to water polo, where kids can get comfortable in the water and exposed to another water-based sport. Our contractor-provided camps include Artistic Swimming Camp, formerly known as Synchronized Swimming, provided by the Walnut Creek Aquanuts. SEAL Team Scuba, which is provided by Dive and Trips. And Springboard Diving, provided by California Diving Academy. Taking a look back at the summer camp registrations remain stable. We saw a small uptick in 2023. We will be expanding the tennis and aquatics camp offerings, as I just mentioned, in 2025. So we expect to see some additional growth there. Here's a breakdown by age of the 432 participants in our summer camps. 75% of camps are between 8 and 12 years old. 118 teenagers between the ages of 12 to 15 participated in aquatic camps this past summer. Here's a breakdown of location of participants in the summer camps. As you can see, 83% of campers come from San Ramon. However, campers are coming from surrounding areas and as far as Brentwood and San Jose.
So let's dip our toe into swim lessons now. Swim lessons are provided by our contractor, Elite Swim. They started providing swim lessons for the city of San Ramon back in the spring of 2018. Aquatic staff, we work closely with Elite Swim to provide high quality lessons that are accessible to the community. Elite Swim has maintained over an 80% satisfaction rating each year. And of the swim lessons offered or participation, 88% are actually residents of San Ramon. This year's participation numbers were lower than last year. However, there is some additional competition in the area now. We will continue to work with Elite Swim and keep our eyes on this, hoping to see growth in 2025. However, to be proactive, we will be increasing our marketing of the program through social media, email blasts, as well as Peach Jar, which goes out to the schools. Additionally, if we look at what the actual offerings are for swim lessons. We're serving individuals as early as 18 months, all the way up to through adulthood. Lessons are for all ages, and the program is really designed for you to be able to register for as many lessons that you would like in order to really meet your own swimming goal. Everyone has a unique one. In the pie chart, you can see the breakdown, the distribution of all the different lessons offered from pre-elite, which is kind of like the intro class, all the way up to Elite 3, which would be, your more advanced class. So that's a nice breakdown. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that the City of San Ramon also offers a low-cost water readiness class called the Splash and Play Water Discovery. This is actually taught by the aquatic staff and is designed to give children who are fearful or uncomfortable in the water an opportunity to get comfortable in the water in a fun and, safe environment. So staff incorporate games, songs, and they really focus on those participants having fun. So we had 32 participants in 2024, which is more than double what we had in 23. All right, so our public swim program covers the city's recreation and lap swim programs. In July of 2024, the cost for entry increased from $7 to $8. However, the city does offer an all swim pass that provides different levels of discounts based on the number of passes that are purchased. Of the all swim pass holders, 57% actually live here in San Ramon. As you can see on the map, there's a large concentration of swimmers that come from San Leandro and the Castro Valley area. And that's really due to a lack of available pools and the quality of facilities that are available to them in that area. You'll notice there's a bunch of different outliers, like there's Petaluma, American Canyon, down in like Morgan Hill and stuff like that. Those are either professionals that are coming in to that work here in San Ramon and swim here. It's also families over summer that are coming in, maybe visiting. And also we have summer camps that visit from outside of the area too. That's why you'll see a lot of San Francisco because of that. Drop-in swimmers there was a drop-in swimmers related to the relocation of lap swim to the Doherty Valley Aquatic Center due to the renovation of the San Ramon Olympic Pool locker rooms. The distance for some people is a thing, obviously. So the renovation of the San Ramon Olympic Pool locker rooms ran from October of 2023 all the way through the start of summer of 2024. So this year, Doherty ended up accounting for 26% of the attendance due to that relocation. Typically, Doherty sees about 8 to 10% on a typical year. For recreation swim, it's a very weather-dependent program. We found that the sweet spot is really between that 90 to 100 degree, temperature. If believe it or not, once you start getting over that 100, because what was it last year or the year before, we had those like record temps, and you see a sharp decline. So at some point, people just don't want to get out of their house. So recreation swim is offered at the San Ramon Olympic Pool from mid-May through Labor Day, and at the Doherty Valley Aquatic Center throughout the summer months. There's several amenities that are available to the pool goers. However, the Splash and Dash inflatable obstacle course is definitely one of the favorites. And then, you obviously always have those people going off the diving boards looking to do their belly flops. So additionally, like I mentioned previously, camps from all over the Bay Area, they do come to the pool during the summer, and that includes the City of San Ramon's own Studio 925, which is a team camp. So Lap Swim is our swimming for fitness program that is offered year round. It's designed to be able to accommodate even working professionals. So we have hours that are available in the early morning, afternoon, and in the evening time. So a lot of different options. One of the things that adjusted this year was that part of budget reductions, the midday lap swim, previously it was offered until 2 o'clock. And so due to the budget reductions, it was trimmed by a half hour. So it ends at 1:30 now. And actually swimmers have adjusted to the different times, and it really hasn't been a problem, and it's been working out well. San Ramon and the local area has a very large emphasis on water sports. And so the city of San Ramon, we have a very robust pool rental program. Even with the cold that we're experiencing right now, most user groups rent the space out year round. So we have 7 co-sponsored user groups, and we have 9 resident or non-resident user groups. The city staff, we work closely with the athletic directors at both Cal High and Doherty Valley High School to ensure successful swim and water polo seasons, because their practices and meets and all those are actually hosted on the pool, at the pools. So from swim teams to water polo and even Boy Scout water tests and Camp Parks military training, we host a variety of activities throughout the year. Additionally, we do host regional and national events. So the aquatics team, we coordinate with the high schools and the school district on all those special events due to the impacts to their campus, parking, so on and so forth. A few of the large events that we host on an annual basis are the East Bay Athletic League Swim Championships. So that's the high school e-balls, their swim championships. All the high schools from the area, they come, and that's held at the Doherty Valley Aquatic Center. We also have the Valley Swim Association Championship, which hosts around 1,300 athletes. And that, again, is at the Doherty Valley Aquatic Center. So very, very large event, that one. So not only are these large events, you know, great showcase of the city of San Ramon's aquatic facilities, but it also brings people into town because I don't know if any of you have been to a swim meet, but it's an all-day affair. And these bigger meets are multiple days, so.
Aquatics classes are an important part to the success and safety of our programs. The City of San Ramon is an American Red Cross authorized provider, which allows aquatics to teach different types of classes. The American Red Cross Lifeguard Training Program numbers fluctuate year to year. A majority of these participants take the course in order to get a job as a lifeguard locally. 53% of the lifeguards from these courses are hired right from these courses to the City of San Ramon. We also offer lifeguard instructor and water safety instructor courses. Many organizations in the area send participants to these classes so they can go back and train their own lifeguards. San Ramon has 38 staff that hold either one or both of these instructor level certifications. Also offered are community-based CPR and first aid courses through a contractor, Adams Safety Training. In 2024, we had 27 participants. Let's take a splash into our special events. Now, our special events offered during the summertime, a few to note, is one of my favorites, the middle school pool party. We had our highest participation in the years that we have offered it at 232 participants in 2024. This is an opportunity to meet up with friends and make new ones. Games, prizes, activities, food and drinks are offered. My favorite activity was the biggest cannonball splash this year. Dive-in movie nights was a program that we were offered in previous years. We had to cut due to budget reductions, but it's a fun opportunity for people to sit by the pool, enjoy a movie while cooling off on those hot nights. The city and department will evaluate the options to restore these great family events in the future.
So throughout 2024, the City of San Ramon's lifeguards conducted 54 rescues of swimmers who were in distress. So out of the estimated 288,000 visits that we get on an annual basis, that ends up being about 0.02% of the patrons that were actually rescued. These rescues range from someone falling off the splash and dash, thinking that they can make it to the end, and maybe they hit the water and become disoriented, or it could end up being a non-swimmer that's slipping off the wall and not being able to keep their head above water. The biggest takeaway from all this is that while the majority of the rescues, they do happen during recreation swim, it really can happen at any time. And it can happen at any depth of water, and it can happen to any swimmer of any age. So the aquatic staff continue to place a large emphasis on emergency preparedness, and we do staff trainings. So an example of this is that we also connect with the San Ramon Valley Fire Department, and we do a joint training so that we can get experience, the staff can get experience with the transition of care from, okay, there's something that happened at the pool, how do we, how are we going to transition that to the emergency services?
The backbone of the city's aquatics operation is the staff. During the peak summer season, staff numbers reached 118. However, during the majority of the year, staffing levels are around 45. To become certified as a lifeguard, these staff have all paid for and passed a 28-hour training course with an additional 6-hour online module. By the time they get hired, it is clear that they are dedicated. 92% of the staff are between the ages of 15 and 19 years old. While these are staff members, 93% of them are San Ramon residents. This is an example of how the city serves the community indirectly, providing opportunities for employment and development. This year's staff retention rate of staff who had worked the previous summer reached a high of 80%. This has been a goal to increase retention by working to create and maintain a positive culture. We also incorporate team building, competitions, and staff events to set San Ramon apart from local homeowner associations or other public pools. The city of San Ramon also participates in the Bay Area Lifeguard Games, which draws over 24 teams from all over the Bay Area. Typically, we send 2 teams each year, and they historically are top performers. This year's games in 2024, the teams took home first and third place overall, along with a variety of other individual and team awards.
Impressive.
Yes, that's very good.
Really cool.
Very impressive.
I'll let you go.
As full-time staff, we invest in our team. Kevin and I tried to develop and teach the lifeguard staff a variety of life skills, including some of my favorites on the board before you: leadership, confidence, and accountability. Kevin and my goal is for them to grow and become contributing members of the community. Previous staff have gone to become doctors, firefighters, lawyers, police officers, teachers, and so much more. Staff often stay in contact or even drop by, and we enjoy being part of their success stories, even years later. We even hear from parents of current or past staff, and they tell us how much growth they have seen in their kids at home.
So our jobs are focused around risk management and ensuring the safety of the community. Once hired on, lifeguards participate in ongoing training. During the summer months, we're conducting trainings weekly. During the off season, it shifts to a monthly basis. And these trainings, they're covering rescues, care scenarios, and also physical conditionings to make sure that they can meet the demands if they were to be called on. Vigilance awareness training is on-shift training drills. They're really used to make sure that the lifeguards are able to recognize, respond, and make critical decisions. For our skill audits that we employ, these are mostly focused on individual skill performance, think CPR, those types of things. We also conduct full facility audits to test group response, and this happens during the public recreation swim. So the public actually gets to take part of that as well. The city contracts with Total Aquatic Management to also perform unannounced audits. These are really geared to making a snapshot of any given day, what you would expect or get at the pool. So the performance of the guards and the operation as a whole. So as we look to the future for aquatics, we're in the process of implementing a digital record keeping software. This is going to streamline processes for the staff, aid in tracking information that's required by the county health department as well. We're also working to strengthen partnerships and explore new ones. As mentioned before, we train with the San Ramon Valley Fire Department. However, we're looking at adding additional training that would happen during the off season. We also partner with Dive-In Trips to provide an opportunity to train on rescuing scuba victims, since they rent out pool space on a regular basis, and they also provide camps for us over the summer. We're looking to expand our partnership with the Red Cross to be able to host instructor trainer academies, which will not only benefit the city of San Ramon, but also the general area, making sure that we're a very strong and water-safe community. Additionally, we're exploring the benefits of a mutual aid agreement with the East Bay Regional Park District's lifeguard service. This would have the potential to provide additional training opportunities and be able to call upon each other if and when we're needed. So thank you for listening to our presentation. Please let us know if you have any questions, comments, or any of the above. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin and Amanda. I really like the way you guys presented it. It was fun. It was fun. All right. So let's go with the commission questions. Let's start from the left side. Commissioner Coney.
No questions. I just kudos because the program's second to none. Our son was a lifeguard and swim instructor for 3 straight years and loved it. It's the best job he ever had, honestly. And he was employee of the year one year, and it taught him so many life skills. And yeah, we've always been just so super impressed with the aquatics program here. So good job, you guys.
Thank you.
Mm.
All right. Commissioner Osland, any clarifying questions?
No questions?
All right. Commissioner Braid, Vice Chair Braid.
That's okay. Thank you. You got the motive. No question. Thanks.
All right. Commissioner Dolich.
Yeah, you mentioned that there was a little bit of a downturn because there was some competition in the area.
Yeah.
What, is it from another city? Is it from private, companies? What competition was that you were referring to?
Right. So there's a new swim school opened up out of the 24-hour fitness here in San Ramon. And so that hit just before summertime. And so as you can imagine, the ability to go drop your kid off at a swim lesson, maybe get a couple reps in, indoor facility, those types of things. There's some allure, obviously. The one thing to note, though, is that the decrease was actually seen, majority of it was the decrease happened at the San Ramon Olympic Pool. Doherty, actually, there was an increase in lessons. So, you can kind of attribute that to the local community that the swim school out of 24 is serving.
Yeah, it's that long drive between Doherty and Canyon Road. I noticed that, you're talking about the rescues and 45% were on weekends, and then there was a majority between 1:20 p.m. and 3:15. Is this because people didn't listen to the mom and they went in the pool and didn't stay 30 minutes after lunch? I mean, why is it, or is it just because there's an increased activity at that time and so there's more competition in the lanes, or?
Yeah, so what that really is attributed to is, so our recreation swim program happens, during those timeframes.
Okay.
And so we're seeing the majority of people during that portion of time. And so it just attributes to
Amateurs.
more rescues happening, whether it's amateurs or, it could be, someone that thinks that they can make it across and beat their grandson's time or something like that on the inflatable. And it just, you get a little scared when you hit the water sometimes.
You didn't wait 30 minutes.
Yeah. If you guys want to have a competition, we're totally up for it.
Absolutely. We're coming. All right.
So is 24-hour going to continue with their program?
Yeah, that's our understanding. So they cropped up in a number of different 24-hour fitnesses. So
Gotcha.
this is something that, us and Elite Swim have been looking at. So.
Okay, is there a way to partner with them or is it just because it's private, it's tough to do that?
Yeah, I think it's probably a tough one to do. So Elite Swim, we have a contract, we partner with them. So this is 2024 was the second of the 3-year contract that we have. We have an option for a 2-year extension as well. So, it's something that I guess we can talk with Elite Swim, but the real differences between the swim schools, it's not just like a cookie cutter. Like the Red Cross is very what you get here in California, even, here in San Ramon, the class is supposed to be the same if you're in Delaware, whatever it may be. But the swim schools, they typically have their own proprietary methods of teaching and all those different things. So it would probably be a little bit difficult, but you know, sky's the limit, right?
Exactly. Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Lopez Luther?
Well, thank you for the presentation. I'm not a good swimmer, so I wouldn't participate in the
Noted.
in the swimming. I'd probably be the one that you'd want to rescue probably. But anyway,
Kitchen and wings.
yes, anyway, but for certain, since I wasn't a good swimmer, and didn't have a lot of opportunity of where I was raised for swim team, swim lessons and etc. But I made sure my daughter was and my granddaughters. And so now I am encouraging my great granddaughter to get into swim lessons.
Excellent.
So
Okay.
I support your, and also at the teen job fair, I know that we're always right there interviewing people to be lifeguards. So I fully support it. Good program.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Levy?
Sure. No, again, I'll echo my fellow commissioners. Great presentation. I really liked the way the information was presented. I did have one quick clarifying question for the strengthening existing partnerships and exploring new opportunities. The East Bay Regional Park District, it certainly sounds like that's not something that we currently do. Is that, I just want to gauge, like, have we had initial discussions with them? And is this something that, is not hypothetical and might be on its way to happening, or?
Right. It's something that we are in communication with them. And so there's definitely a possibility for it. There are some additional agreements that they have with some of the other organizations throughout the Bay Area because they do have such a large service area. So we're really trying to understand, what that partnership would look like, the benefits to both organizations, and just make sure that it makes sense for everybody involved.
Okay.
Okay. Student Commissioner Chawla?
Yeah, overall, it sounds great. Progress that you guys have made. And I'm super thankful for this whole program. I know a lot of the teams in my community and teams outside of the community are have been lifeguards and they've had such great experiences. And I always hear about it, especially when trying to gauge like what the community wants. I'm always hearing about experiences of people working specifically with lifeguarding. So overall, it's been such a great impact on my community and the team community. So we're all super grateful for the opportunity.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just one quick question about that lifeguard medals or prizes that we receive. What was that again?
So the Bay Area Public Pool Operators Association, they host lifeguard games every year. And so this year it was hosted in Brentwood. And so I think there was like 12 or 13 different organizations that sent teams, and with a total of like 24 teams. And so they go through a variety of different, we'll call them skills and events. And so, yeah, it could be, there's usually like if you have like a suspected spinal injury, head neck spinal injury. So there's that kind of rescue. There's also a rescue tube relay where it's about speed and also form and those types of things. You got to swim to the other side of the pool and then back, and then your next team member, jumps in and does the same type of things. There's also submerged victims. So you got a person, in this situation, it's a mannequin at the very bottom of the pool. You have to go, you got to swim like 20 yards, you got to get them, and then you got to get them out. And then you got to provide all that follow-up care as well. So the CPR, putting on additional equipment. I won't bore you with all that, but yeah, there's a handful of different ones. Then there's also an individual event, which is called Iron Guard, in which as the individual, you get to compete. So there's a women's division and then an open division. And so there was a mix up, but one of our lifeguards would have taken the female Iron Guard. But yeah, so I mean, every year we perform quite well. I have the trophies strategically placed in my office. So if you ever have to do a Teams meeting with me, you can see some of that hardware. But also in the lobby of the Santa Maria Olympic Pool, there's a lot of the different accomplishments throughout the years. What we're doing now is really no different than what has been done before us. We've really built on those individuals that have come before us, like Keith, and a number of other really, really strong people within the aquatics community. So we're happy to be able to continue that legacy, and we really are proud of what has come out of San Ramon, and we want to keep that standard real high. So,
and we are proud too.
Thank you.
All right, let's go to any public comment. No public comment. All right, commission comments. So maybe we can start with Commissioner Koniakan.
I always think of a question after the fact. I always go in the reverse order, and I like, you ask for a comment, I
You
give
get
you
a
a
second
question.
chance.
You ask for a question, I give you a comment. So here's my question. And I should know the answer to this, but so for high school PE units, right, when they have a swim unit and the classes are there either at Olympic or at Doherty, I assume you have a lifeguard on duty for those?
Yeah, so those, the high school swim program actually ended in 2018.
Oh.
So the district is no longer offering that. So, yeah,
See?
but
Wow.
previously, yes.
Yeah.
Lifeguards were on site during that whole program. The way that we have a joint use agreement with the school district. The way that that's written is that we do need to, lifeguard when
Yeah.
anything's in the water and all
Right.
those things. So,
Got
yeah.
it. Thank you.
Any comment? No? Okay, all right.
I have a question too. Actually, curious, were either one of you swimmers growing up?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Yeah, it's interesting enough. The answer is like, we know how to swim and we swim well enough, but we were certainly not like Keith or anyone that was on, like, we did not grow up on swim team. We did not grow up playing water polo or any of those things. So yeah, that's
Sorry to put you on the spot,
No,
but
that's-
you're
that's
doing a
all right.
great
That's all
job
right.
and you could have fooled me. So you guys you're a great team. Keep doing what you're doing.
Any comment?
That's my comment.
Oh, that was a comment. Okay, all right. All right. Vice Chair Braid.
Yeah, hey, really nice job. I got to tell you that you talked about the success that we have and people coming back. I always, as a leader, you have people come back and say how much they love working for you, and I think it reflects on both of you in the sense of how you're one, you can tell the immense pride, but you've also built a lot of trust, and since in my industry, trust is a really big deal. And you guys have built a really good trust. And I share that, first of all, because it's hard to lead such a massive organization and so many touch points and a delegation of responsibility, because it's a lot of delegation responsibility both pools. So, you got to train really well. So it makes me really happy and thankful for the work that our leaders do, both of you have done. And I know you'd say, oh my God, it's everyone else. I get it. And Keith would say the same thing, but it just shows, how humble your organization is. So, and it's also, you should hopefully, my son moved to San Francisco just to swim at our pool, and I went to go check out their swimming facilities because I was bored. But it's interesting, the services and their cleanliness and what we do in San Ramon. So I would tell you, I think it's awesome, and it doesn't go unnoticed by any of us up here, and feel the pride that you did. So big thank you, and I love that you put the master plan stuff in. So I appreciate that. So and I thought your report was really excellent. And the other thing is as we look at trying to serve our citizens, I think the programs we offer touches a wide range, especially when you said swim lessons. We have 18 months to, I'm not sure how old, but as we appeal to our senior community, it's important that's available to them. So I think it's massively important for them. So first of all, thanks. And so this input is just I've like three things that hopefully are helpful, but super impressed, by the way. I mean, it was a really, really good job. No lap swim on Sunday. I think it's budget driven, but just because I'm more in touch with lap swim a little bit. But any way we could add like a Sunday program, and I'm sure you have rationale. I didn't ask questions, so you don't need to respond. That's on me for not asking it. I want, even though I'm not on teen council representative anymore, I think our biggest underserved part of our community is our middle school to high schoolers. And I love the middle school thing. So you probably can say my next comment is, how do we do it again? Or how do we, once it might be budget driven, but if I had budget, I'd throw money in, because I think it's really important to serve that part of our community. And how do we create more for our teens? So whatever we can go do to, create some type of events for our middle school to high school, because I look like, okay, where's something for the high schoolers? That'd be really cool. Just kind of a challenge, but once again, I'm sure it's budget driven. I probably should ask that question. So, and then the last thing is, I don't, good for 24 hours. I think it's great, and we want our business to survive here in San Ramon. But big thing is, I think what we provide is different quality. You know, we might provide a different quality, different service. So I'd just be focusing on how do we continue to be the best at what we do, and understand what our other businesses do that we want to be as successful in San Ramon, but how we differentiate and continue to do it. So really nice job. I mean, I was really impressed, and it's even better hearing it in person than it was reading it. So you guys did a really good job. So thank you so much.
Before moving on, I have one quick question. Do you have a price differentiator with 24 hours?
Do we have say that one? more
Price
time?
differentiator. I mean, we know that we are charging
Oh.
$8. Do
Yeah,
you know how
I
much
don't know their costs off the top of my hand here, but the way that our agreement is set up with Elite Swim is that it does have to be less than all of the private swim schools that are in the immediate area. So.
Yeah, and that's why I was going to say the whole pricing that Partha said. I'm sorry, Commissioner Larson, Chair Mitra, but the point being is that, you know, once you start pricing and pricing down or pricing, you know, that's why, what do you offer different from a quality standpoint? What are we different than them? So we can have two different variations. That's the pricing thing is a really unique thing to go after. So
Yeah, so our prices have gone up over the last couple of years. However, we have been serving the unique participants. So if Will took 20 lessons, he's still one unique participant, right? Sorry, Commissioner Dorley.
you can say Will.
Fine.
We're all wearing bathing suits as well.
There you go. There you go. Sorry. So the interesting thing is that the amount of swim lessons that have been that individuals are taking, it has continued to increase. So in 2022, it was like 7.32 swim lessons per unique participant, and we're up to 7.99 at this point. So
That's good. Pretty good. All right, Commissioner Dowlitz?
Yeah, so you're not seeing any, drop because you increase prices. You're seeing actually an increase in participation because, I don't think price is an issue. It's pretty non-fungible. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Commissioner Lopez Lucy, any comment?
I don't really have another comment. I've said my comments or questions, whatever. So I just think that you're doing a great job and continue. So support you all the way.
Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Levy?
Sure. No, I think we really seem to be doing a good job of meeting the needs of most demographics and the desires and the specific programs that they want. I did have one comment for like presentation of information. The lifeguard rescue page in the presentation, I really like that information is included. I think that's very important. I think it would be helpful to include the number of total visits that happen, not to downplay the 54 rescues at all. Like, don't say the 54 rescues are a very small percentage, but to present that data in context with the overall visits. Because in isolation, without the overall number of total visits, 54 sounds like a really big number. And then when you say the total, it seems much smaller and kind of puts me more at ease. So I think including that number would be helpful to strengthen the presentation of that data in the future. And that's all I've got.
thank you for that.
All right. Student Commissioner Chawla?
I definitely do agree with Leisure, like having more team-oriented activities would be good. And I definitely think I know budget restrictions are there, but bringing back the movie night in the pool, because I know that was a really big hit in Weston community. I think it was 2 years ago, in the summer, I believe, 2023. Yeah. So I think bringing that back, if possible, would be really helpful, or even just finding more small-scale activities that are centered around teens would be really impactful, especially ones that are graduating or kind of coming out of a celebration. Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So yeah, you guys run an awesome program, and we are very, very grateful for doing that. And thank you for keep doing that. And it was an awesome presentation by both of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Nice job, you guys.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, moving on. Item number 8, staff report. 8.1, recreation maintenance and operational report.
So just a couple of quick things to draw your attention to if you got a chance to read through it. I think following off on the aquatics, that Camp Park's Best Warrior competition at the San Ramon Olympic Pool, I didn't even fully grasp it until I read that rec report that these military people are jumping in the pool with their full packs and gear on and swimming and treading water for 15 minutes. So go back and read that one if you didn't get a chance to. I don't know if you noticed, but almost 300 letters were answered by Santa with assistance
Wow.
from his elves working at our front
Yep.
counters.
I got my
So
letter.
I heard that you
Signed by
got a
Santa?
letter. He did.
Okay.
He's not joking. I also wanted to draw your attention to the Crook Canyon Garden volunteers. We're really active in December with a cleanup day where volunteers picked 20 gallons of organic lemons that were turned into lemonade for use in the Forest Home Farm 5 Census Tour. That's really cool. And then we had more volunteers at the farm who picked 30 shopping bags full of persimmons for use during the Farm Life Tours. So those are both programs that are exciting to see, really growing and going. And then I have to mention our public services guys, if you flip through that report, they're super busy at this time of year maintaining all of the fields because this is their time. The fields are closed and they can do the maintenance on them. There's also the replaster of the lap pool at SROP. And then the creme de la creme or the crown on all of this is the Ramona Park Playground is up, and you need to go out there and see it in person. But if nothing else, look at the pictures because I actually think it looks better than it looked in all the concept drawings. And that's often the case with these kind of things. You see this concept picture, you're like, I think that's going to look good. But when you actually see it up, it's really awesome. So Public Services did an amazing job and have been doing an amazing job. Did anybody have any questions that I might be able to answer for you?
Thank you. All right, let's move on to item number 9, committee liaison reports and announcements. And can we start with Commissioner Dolich?
Sure. Well, 2/3 of the meeting was the Arts Advisory Committee.
you're done.
So
That's why you're first.
I don't need to be redundant again. But yeah, that was primarily the November meeting was the same agenda as the December meeting was the agenda here this evening. So that pretty much covered it. And I want to thank staff for my letter from Santa. It was addressed to the parents of William Gorelick, so I appreciate that. I said I was on the
I doubt that.
slightly naughty list.
I wish I was standing, I wish I was getting a response.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Can you go to Commissioner Lopez?
Well, I have to admit that I left part of my report at home instead of taking it with me on my trip to Austin. But the last meeting that we had for the Senior Advisory Committee is that they were at a program on how the county is increasing their ability to help seniors who cannot drive or they don't have family to get them to, their medicals or to the grocery store or something. So the one lady that spoke, she has started, and I can't remember the exact name of it, but she will, she has so many volunteers that they will actually take the person from their home to shopping and then bring it to their car and help them get back in their house or anything. So whether if you call an Uber or that, they cannot do that. They can just get you there and get you back. But her facility that she has started, it's really to give extra help to the seniors that some people are just not able to do that.
Very nice, very nice.
So that was the main thing that she spoke that was really impressive as to how that she does it. And she did mention that San Ramon does have the majority of volunteers in that capacity because no one is paid or anything. It's all volunteer. So it was nice to know that we do volunteer where we are needed. So that was the main emphasis.
Yeah. Okay, good. Thank you. Commissioner Levy?
I don't really have anything to report since our last meeting. Due to the holiday, there hasn't been a team council meeting, so I don't really have anything.
Okay, Student Commissioner Chawla, anything to add to that?
We haven't had anything since our last.
All right, Vice Chair Bray?
No report.
Good enough report. Okay, I'm just checking. No, don't worry.
Glad it's a dental meeting. Good job.
You always have something.
Take it where you got it.
Okay, all right. Commissioner Osler?
Okay, I got stuff. So city council met last night. They met on Monday, excuse me, Monday? Special meeting was on January 6th. Yeah, Monday. Sorry, I'm like still coming back. And the conversation, the meeting agenda was about City Council District 2 appointment. They received, I believe, how many applications did they get here? I want to say there were 18. And so the city council met to discuss a short list of the candidates. They all reviewed their applications and they came up with 4 candidates that they're going to interview on Friday, January 10th. They include Richard Adler, Kyle Levy, Baljit Sool, and Tiffany Uri Chu. And they discussed the process and how it's going to play out and the questions and how much time. So that will take place on Friday afternoon. It looks like from 5 to 9 p.m. Will be the interviews, January 10th. So good luck. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right.
And then, I'm not done.
Yep.
So the Open Space Advisory Committee met on December 16th, and we received a presentation from John Muir Land Trust. And just so you're familiar, they're one of our partners for Open Space Advisory Committee and the City of San Ramon, but they're a nonprofit organization that's been working for decades to identify and protect most of the threatened properties in this area that we live here, thinking of the East Bay Hills. It's like a complete jigsaw puzzle of beautiful photograph and many missing pieces. So the Trust considers the East Bay Hills as a defining feature of our region's rich natural heritage and a treasured resource running north and south through Contra Costa and Alameda counties. And these hills are beloved by millions of us today, and it's essential for our health and well-being. They're focused on preserving the open space for the community, and the East Bay Hills are woven into well-designed networks of trails that crisscross over our neighborhoods, and each acquisition that they're involved in adds new vital connections. They're completely focused on protecting and preserving the character of our community for generations to come. I just wanted to also point out that it's kind of a unique moment, and this is how they see it, is that there's a lot of undeveloped ranches that are highly sought after for commercial and residential development. And the Land Trust works with conservation-minded sellers who want their land to be preserved. So they're really focused on the 30 by 30 initiative, which is driven by California. And what this is about is making unprecedented public funds available for the purchase of these lands. 30 by 30 is an international movement to permanently conserve 30% of the land and ocean for climate resilience by the year 2030. With approximately 24% of lands and 16% of coastal waters conserved to date, California is at the forefront of this global movement. Undeniably important for receiving these grants is communities demonstrating local support by contributing their own funds. So it was a very, very well done presentation and very interesting, and it's really great that we're partners with the Land Trust. The other thing we talked about was our goals, polishing up our goals for the annual report, our accomplishments for 2024, and our goals for 2025. And Kathy mentioned we have flipped over, we have our non-hike event for the Open Space Advisory Committee will be on February 1st, Saturday. So please come. It will be, where is it? It's at the community center. Okay. And it is it will be a presentation by Plantify, and they're going to speak on native ecological history of the area and how everyday people can be great stewards of the natural area. So definitely, I encourage you guys to come to that. It'll be good. And only last thing I wanted to ask was about Memorial Park. Where are we with the Eagle and the renovation?
Thank you for asking. Yeah, I've been working with the artist. The contract's ready to go. Everything's getting ready to go. We're looking at a March, April install. For sure, the deadline is to have it ready for the memorial program on Memorial Day. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Very good.
Yep.
Anything else? That's it. Okay. Commissioner Koenig?
Library Advisory Committee tomorrow. Looking forward to that. That's all I have.
All right. Planning Commission meeting on December 17th. There are 3 agenda items that were discussed. Public hearing, Bartlett BR7 residential development located at 2527 to 2542 Camino Ramon. It was a proposed residential complex that is 190 residential units, Unit 118 multifamily townhomes and 72 single-family homes. It's a 100% residential site. September 3rd, Planning Commission held a study session and provided some feedback. On September 26th, ARB provided feedback and recommended some design changes, architectural review changes. Applicants submitted revised plan based on these 2 feedbacks on December 17th. Planning Commissions approved and moved the proposal to the City Council. Second one was public hearing, time extension for Windflow Field Townhomes development, 2701 Hooper Drive. December 7, 2021, City approved for 47-unit multifamily residential project with 16 accessory dwelling units. The project is getting delayed because of the landslide in the adjacent property. And so the people who are working on this, they came back and asked for an extension. The expiration happened in December 7, 2024. November 13th, the applicants filed a time extension asking for 72 months extension. Staff recommended for 18 months. 72 months, staff recommended for 18 months. So the Planning Commission approved for 18 months extension. Okay, the other one, last one was study session. Is a TA, which is text amendment, 2024 000-0005, 2024 zoning ordinance update. So there was some text amendment that was done and it was approved. So that is my feedback for the Planning Commission meeting on December 17th. All right. Anything else from anybody? Okay. All right. With that, we are adjourning to the meeting, Parks Commission meeting at 9:07 p.m. Thank you.